Hi and welcome everybody. My name's Dylan. Today we're going to be talking about creating great client experiences with Mark Luty from Frog Coaching.
Thank you, Dylan. Yes, I'm hopeful that I will have the answer as well. Welcome everybody. Thank you for taking time out for the presentation, and I certainly appreciate the opportunity to talk with you. Today's topic, the ultimate client experience. I guess when I was given the topic, my first question is, so it's a pretty obvious one, I guess. What makes that ultimate client experience? Yeah, kind of what is it? Three things came to mind. The service that you provide, maybe that's what gives that ultimate experience. How about how your client looks, be it hair or beauty? Or maybe number three, how your client feels. So you kind of ponder on those for a while. The service you provide, most of us are in a very, very competitive environment. And so the service we provide often is not unique to us. So I don't know whether just the basic service or the service itself provides the ultimate experience. So maybe how your client looks after the service, could that be it? In some cases it might be, but you know, I know sometimes with beauty treatments the client doesn't actually look that great after some skin needling or a fairly intensive skin peel. So maybe, I'm not 100% sure that's it. It's kind of a subjective thing. Clients might leave your salon with a great looking hairstyle, but to be honest, I think they're expecting that anyway. So I kind of think number three might be the one, how your client feels. Maybe it's the feeling that they have after they've been to your business that gives what they perceive as the ultimate client experience. And I think that revolves around you or the person who looks after them. What's the care factor? In fact, how much do you care? I'll kind of mention that a few times over the next 20 or so minutes. So the ultimate client experience for me, I actually put it down to the relationship. The relationship that your client has with you, with your business, with your team. It can be any one of those three. In fact, it's probably all of them. But for me, it's the client relationship that determines so many things, and it certainly for me is that ultimate client experience, is talking to that relationship. What is a relationship about? I think if you think about relationships that you have with different people, it involves trust. It definitely involves your care factor, mutual respect, consistency. You know, there's a whole lot of words that quite adequately describe a relationship. A relationship is something that builds. You know, when you first meet that brand new client, there's a lot of information you don't know. And so you kind of find all that out. You figure out what you've got in common. Some relationships continue to grow. Some don't grow at all. But for me, I think the relationship is the number one point. So we'll refer to it as the client relationship. Next question. How long is your average client relationship? Certainly a question I ask a lot of my clients. And of course it varies. It varies a heck of a lot. I've got a salon that I look after in Balmain in Sydney that's been operating for 38 years. And believe it or not, they still have some of their original clients there. The salons, it's still in the family. It's a different person fronting the salon now. So that's kind of cool. But I think often, you know, 5 years, do you think 5 years is a good length of time for an average relationship? If you're rebooking your clients every 6 to 8 weeks, it means that, you know, you're going to be seeing them 8 times a year on average. So, you know, 8 times a year over 5 years, that's pretty cool. So I think it's a good conversation to have with your team. What do you believe is the appropriate length of a client relationship? What would you hope it to be? Next question. What's the number one reason your clients stay with you? Again, great conversation to have with your team. I'd be interested to see what they say. What do you think it is? We've kind of dismissed a couple of things. Sometimes when I ask that question, hairdressers will say, oh, well, it's because we give them a great haircut. Yeah, I think that's kind of true, but I think it's a lot more than that. They expect to get a great haircut from you. So for me, the number one thing is it's really about your care factor. It's the fact that you do care for your clients, and they know it. They feel that care. There's a quirky little saying that I absolutely love, and it goes, I don't care how much you know until I know how much you care. And again, what are we getting at there? It's, I guess, I often quote a really quick little story, and that is, you're out to buy a dress, a little black dress. You're in a clothes shop on your own. You put something on, you come out of the fitting room, and the sales assistant says, you look fantastic. That's amazing. At that precise moment, one of your girlfriend walks in. She has a quick look at you and says, get that off immediately. Maybe a couple of days later, you're out shopping again. Again, you're on your own, but you're in a different shop. This time you pop into the fitting room to try some clothes on. You come out, and the salesperson kind of has a good look and says, look, I might just go and get something else for you to try on. I think we can do a bit better than that. The question, of course, is which salesperson do you prefer? And unanimously, I think most of us would prefer the second one. The first one didn't care. All the first one wanted was the sale. But the second one actually was genuinely interested in making sure you looked great. And to me, it kind of sums that up. I don't care how much you know until I know how much you care. And when your clients know that you actually care about them, you care about their appearance, you care about their opinion, that, in my opinion, is why your clients stay with you. Of course, there's got to be another question, doesn't there? What is the number one reason your clients leave? Lots of research around this one, and of course, when we say leave, we're not talking they're leaving town, they're being transferred, all of that type of thing. We're talking about when a client is actually dissatisfied with your service for some reason and decides to leave. What do you think is the number one reason that your clients leave? The thing that's quoted the most often in all the research that we've done, and certainly the feedback that we get from clients, is my therapist or my stylist doesn't listen anymore. And it's kind of interesting, this one, because my wife is going through it at the moment. She's been going to a particular hair salon, a really, really nice upmarket salon in North Sydney. She's been going there for about maybe 3 years. Initially, fantastic. Everything that she wanted, great service, always giving her fantastic looks, great recommendations, always rebooks, gives her treatments, recommends product, does everything. But lately, my wife hasn't been happy, and she says to me things like, oh, look, he's taken it too short again, or look, I'm not really sure this style suits me. Now, the thing I find interesting about that is she talking to her stylist about it? She assures me she is, but you know what? It's been 2 or 3 visits now that she's not happy, so the relationship has changed. And this is a hard one, I think, because sometimes we're asking our clients, we're checking in with them, but the communication isn't the same. The relationship has changed. So how do we keep our client relationships on track? We know that the secret to having a great business and one that continues to grow is retaining our good clients and actually attracting new clients and then retaining them. So if we start to lose them, that's a really, really big deal. So how do we keep it on track? Well, I guess no surprises on this one. Of course, it's going to come down to that client consultation. Now, I know some of you, and particularly some of your team, might be rolling their eyes thinking, oh my gosh, here we go again. And I've heard most of the excuses. The consultation, it takes up valuable time. We know each other really, really well. She trusts me. I know what she wants. Nothing has changed. And it's that last one that really gets me. Nothing has changed. I can promise you that you must never, ever assume that nothing has changed, because everything does. Now, something's changed in the relationship between my wife and her hairdresser. Now, I kind of know what it is. What has changed is that my wife's perception of the style, the length, the colour, has changed. And unfortunately, her hairdresser has not picked up on that. So he thinks he's doing a great job, but in actual fact, from my wife's perspective, he isn't. So we must never, ever assume that nothing has changed, because I promise you, things are going to change. Everything does. Great team exercise for you. Get your team gathered around in your next client, in your next team meeting rather, which I'm hoping you're having on a regular basis, and ask them this question: what has changed? List all the things that have changed in the last 4 weeks from your perspective and from your client's perspective that you might need to know about. Have a think about it. If you had to come up with a list of everything that might have changed, either in your life or in your client's life, do you think you'd come up with 10 things, 5 things? How many do you think your team would come up with? Well, here's a summary of some of the stuff that teams have come up with when I've done this. Well, there's some obvious things. If you're a hair salon, yeah, your hair's changed. Certainly the color, well, the length, unless of course you're suffering from what I'm suffering from, but your hair's going to change. Your skin changes, and your skin changes primarily because of the weather. I mean, right now everyone's skin is going through a huge change because we're coming out of summer and we're well and truly into winter. Fashion changes. Social events. In the last 4 weeks, I could have been to numerous parties, birthdays. I could have aged. I could have been on shopping sprees. Your clients do this all the time. How I feel, what mood I'm in, and that changes. How my clients feel, what their mood is. My skill level may have changed. I may have learned to do some really cool stuff. My knowledge of stuff has changed. My clients' knowledge of stuff has changed. There's been a lot of new products. There's new services that I've learned to do. What my friends have been doing and talking to me about. There's lots of new stuff happening there. Of course, if I'm on Facebook or if I go to movies or read magazines, wow, 4 weeks, that's a huge time in social media. My friends could have changed. My friends' friends could have changed. The sort of stuff that I'm wearing, what my clients are wearing. All of those things have changed. And to me, probably one of the most important things, and again, I go back to the situation with my wife, the big thing that's changed there is she's changed what she wants. So the lesson that we get from the exercise that our staff needs to understand is never ever assume that nothing has changed, because everything does. Okay, so then where do we go from here? Well, I'm going to go back to that lovely little saying again. I don't care how much you know until I know how much you care. So what I'm pushing us on here is, if we really care about our clients, then in that consultation process, we need to be paying an awful lot of attention. And for those of you who sometimes get tempted to take your clients straight to the basin, or to take them straight into the consultation room, into your beauty rooms and start working with them straight away, huge risk that you're taking there. You've got to get your client sitting down, relaxed, and you've got to have that conversation with them, because you've got to show them how much you care, and you've got to try and understand if there's anything important that's changed from their perspective. Because here's the thing, we get bored with some clients, and quite frankly, they get bored with us. We don't often talk about it, but I'm sure certain clients come to mind, and particularly, imagine if they've been coming to you for 5 years. Imagine at my salon in Balmain, they've been coming to the salon for 30 odd years. But there are some people that we just get bored with. And unfortunately, the reverse is true. Your clients will get bored with you too. So we've always got to be that one step ahead and really to suggest a change or to respond to a change. Okay. And how, of course, what keeps us on track for this is we just have to be doing those amazing consultations with every new client, of course, and I think most of us have got a good habit around that. We know if it's a brand new client that we've really got to take our time, find out exactly what their history is, why they have walked into our business, what they want, and there's a whole lot of stuff that goes with it. And again, I'm sure most of you have got a really, really good structured consultation. Where we often fall into the trap, though, is with our existing clients. And we need to have a process there. I'm a big fan of structure, and I don't necessarily mean structured, boring, standard questions, but just there should be from every member of your team a bit of a plan to follow. And it might just be, it can be as simple or as casual as, so Mary, tell me about your hair. How's that been in the last 8 weeks since you were last in? Just nice open-ended questions that kind of invite Mary to have a bit of a conversation. Mary, how's your skin been? Have you been noticing the colder weather? Have you been noticing it's a lot drier? Again, it's just showing that care factor. And we've got to be really, really good at this stuff. So for an amazing consultation, our job is to find the opportunity and then offer the right solutions to make it happen. Or our job is to find the problem and then offer the right solutions to solve it. So it's always going to be about the questions. We've got to show our expertise through questioning. Asking great questions, of course, it builds trust with your client and it helps you identify any changes. Then you can make your recommendations and they're going to have a lot more credibility. So it is about paying attention. It might be the previous visit that your client was heading away on a holiday, was going to a specific function, was having a birthday. Our clients are looking at themselves in the mirror a hell of a lot more than we're looking at them. And they're conscious of the changes that their bodies, their skins are going through. And certain events sometimes highlight that they may be looking for something a little bit more. But human nature is a funny thing because often we're in that consultation mode and we're asking them questions like, you're happy with what we're doing? And if they say no, then that could be a bit awkward. And so we really have to be good at this. We've got to, I guess, read the signs. So in summary, every relationship becomes boring if you let it. So don't let it. And here's a really key thing for me. Think about your clients before they walk through your front door. Plan ahead and have your ideas and recommendations ready. Sometimes I get asked, what makes a great beauty therapist? What makes an amazing hairdresser? And I'm very, very fortunate. In my role, we get to meet them. And we certainly get to work with a lot of different people. If there's one clear thing that stands out above all others, the really, really great therapists and the great therapists, they plan ahead. Initially, how does it start? It's actually a little bit slow and can be time consuming because you've got to look at the clients that are coming in, preferably before the end of today. You look at the ones that are coming in for tomorrow. So you've got a bit of time to get that subconscious mind working for you. Think about each one. Think about what if Mary walked in and for the first time ever in her life said, you can do whatever you like, what would you do? How well do you know her? Do you know what job she has? Do you know what she does socially? Do you often think about, hey, if Mary asked me for a complete change, where would I go? What would I do? Our clients don't know what they don't know. They don't always know what they want. But if we keep giving them the same old, then I promise you, sooner or later, they're going to find that boring. If your clients are coming in for that regular facial, and it's, every 4 weeks, regular as clockwork. You've got to think of a way to spice it up a bit. You've got to always be looking at your client's skin. Clients actually do embrace change. They love it. And as the seasons change, one of the things that we should be doing with our beauty clients, particularly this time of year, but in theory, I think we should be doing it every 3 to 4 months, is doing another full-on skin consultation, finding out how has your skin managed the summer months. We're going into winter. Let's review. Let's do it. Have a really good look at your skin. Maybe take some photographs. Let's review the products that you're using. Let's put together a treatment plan to make sure that we're keeping on track with it. It's those little changes that give your clients the confidence that you know what they're up to. But we can't all be expected to do that on the spur of the moment. The great hairdressers, therapists have trained themselves and they've got into the habit of it. Initially, as I say, it was quite methodical. It was sitting down, looking at each client coming in, writing up a bit of a plan for each of them so that they know what to say. But you can train your brain, I'm very, very pleased to say, to do that subconsciously, so that you only need to think about clients and you'll automatically be thinking, okay, what journey can I take them on? What can I talk to them about? But the trick there, think about your clients before they walk through the front door. Plan ahead and have your ideas and your recommendations ready. Don't let your relationship with your client stop you from doing your job. And this is my final point, ladies. So we talked before about the ultimate client experience, and it is about the relationship that you have with your client. But one of the things that sometimes happens is the relationship, in a weird way, kind of stops us from doing our job. And what do I mean by that? Often a hairdresser or a therapist will share with me that, with our regular clients, that they do have a good relationship with. As soon as they come and they start talking about what they've been doing in the last month and what the kids are up to, and they go straight into that personal stuff, and they struggle to get it back on track to actually having a proper consultation. They get, in many ways, too familiar. So I guess it's a bit of a trap here, and my advice to them is get the business out of the way first, and of course it's the consultation. So when your clients come in, my favorite greeting for a regular client is, you must always know when the last time you saw them was. So, Mary, 8 weeks since I've seen you. Hasn't time flown? Now tell me, how's your hair been? Now tell me, how's your skin been? So my advice is get the business out of the way first. Then as soon as you've done that, then you can go on to holidays, birthday parties, boyfriends, girlfriends, children, you name it. Everything that makes that relationship absolutely amazing. But get the business done first. So, amazing experiences with your clients. It's about the relationship, but it's about your care factor. How much do you really care about your clients? And on that note, that's me.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Mark. I'll think we'll stick around for a couple of minutes, just keeping an eye on that chat and that question pane in case anyone did have a particular question for us. Otherwise, if you do have a question you don't think of right now, but maybe had something that you were burning to ask Mark a little bit later on, definitely feel free to email that through to us. I'll make sure it ends up in the right place. But once again, thank you so much, everyone, for attending, and thank you very, very much, Mark, for that amazing presentation.
Cheers, Dylan. Always a pleasure. Our contact details are there. We have an amazing team of coaches throughout New Zealand and Australia. If there's anything we can help you with, please don't hesitate to contact us.
Okay, it looks like we did have a question coming through. Are you able to see that one, Mark?
Can't see it. Can you share it with me?
Yep, I can read it out for you. So it was a question from Emma. She was keen to know, at what point of the treatment should rebooking be introduced, and what would you say?
This is a beauty question. Is that, would we be correct in that with the treatment? Emma, I believe that the rebooking conversation starts in the consultation. So if we go back to my good friend Mary, and I guess it's one of the reasons that I always like you to remind Mary how long it is since you've seen them. So if it's Mary, and it's going to be, hi Mary, how are you? So it's been 6 weeks since I've seen you. Now let's have a look at your skin. How's your skin been in the last 6 weeks? First up, you've got to check, because you haven't done anything to Mary's skin right now, so you're seeing it in exactly the right state. So how's that? Is it hydrated? Obviously you would have checked your notes, so you know the journey that you've got Mary on. But that little bit, that moment that we get at the beginning to say it's been 6 weeks, what you're really doing is you are checking in with Mary to see if that time frame's been appropriate. Let's just say Mary may have come in for hair removal. Let's just say she's coming in to get her legs waxed. Well, that's pretty easy, because let's have a look at those legs of yours, Mary. It's been 6 weeks. Okay, that looks pretty good. It looks like we've got the timing about right. Yes, before you go, we'll rebook you for 6 weeks again. The alternative, of course, might be, wow, Mary, there's hardly a hair in sight. I think we'll tidy it up today, but I think before you go, I'm actually going to move it from 6 weeks out to 10 weeks, because we're really making great progress here. Or, of course, it could be the opposite. Wow, Mary, I think we've left it a bit late. That's a bit embarrassing. Okay, obviously we need to pull you back. The comment was once made to me by a hairstylist, and he said, Mark, I've got to do the rebooking the minute that my client's bum hits the seat. And he said, I've got to do it before I get rid of the evidence. And I love that, and I've never, ever forgotten it, because if we take Mary, for instance, as soon as we've done with her legs, there's no way that she remembers what they look like when she came in. So where's the motivation? With your hair clients, as soon as you take them to the basin, just by putting on an amazing shampoo, conditioner, and maybe giving them a treatment, you've already changed how their hair looked and feel. So you've got to have that conversation as soon as they hit the seed. And all you do at that point is just sow the seed, and you let them know what the timing is. Now, I know most of you will be doing that anyway in your own mind, but I'm recommending that you share that process with your client. I know when I sit down with my hairdresser, you know, it's pretty much 4 or 6 weeks, and she always checks in before she touches it to say, yep. And one of her favorite comments that she says is, boy, a week makes a difference with you, doesn't it? We've got to rebook you for 4 weeks before you go. So she doesn't like it if I push it out a little bit. Hope that helps.
Awesome. Just in case you can't see the chat there, Mark, Emma did say thank you, and even chucked a little smiley face at the end for you.
Oh, fantastic.